Today we are going to talk about oral amyloidosis. This case has been contributed by Dr. Sachin Goyal, who is a consultant ENT surgeon at Ghaziabad. 82-year-old male presented with difficulty in eating, talking for the past 1 year. On local examination, patient had macroglossia and presence of painless yellowish nodules bilaterally on lateral surfaces as well as dorsal and ventral surfaces of tongue. General examination revealed no abnormality. Serum electrophoresis did not reveal M spike. Bone marrow examination revealed mild hypocellularity. No evidence of plasma cell dyscrasia was seen. There was no evidence of systemic involvement or associated disease. Here we have a clinical picture of the old aged person with nodularity on the dorsal surface affecting both sides of the dorsal surface. Here multiple small nodules. Here we have larger deposits on the lateral side of the tongue. Even the undersurface or the ventral surface of the tongue is involved, and we see nodular deposits. Histopathological examination was carried out, and that showed mild hyperplasia of the epithelium with interstitial deposition of pink hyaline material in the lamina propria and submucosa. This material was acellular in nature. Walls of blood vessels also showed heavy deposition of this pink material at places obliterating vascular lumina. The deposits were moderately reactive to periodic Schiff, that is PAS stain, and stained strongly with Congo red. Tissue sections were examined under polarized light and the amyloid deposits showed apple green by refrigerance. Immunohistochemistry for light chains was carried out, and that showed strong reactivity of the material to kappa light chains of immunoglobulins, while stain for lambda chains was negative. All features of this case were consistent with infiltration of the mucosa and submucosa by amyloid material. Microscopically, if we see the sections, we see that here is the mucosa, oral mucosa, which is normal, and there is a deposition of pink acellular hyaline material in the lamina propria and submucosa. The material can be seen very well here as nodular deposits. Here we can see wall of the blood vessel shows deposition of amyloid material, which is pink and acellular in nature. Another blood vessel showing deposit in the wall. This is Congo red stain showing strong positivity for the amyloid material. Here we can see, while the overlying mucosa is taking pink and blue, this is taking reddish coloration. Higher magnification showing clearly the deposits of the amyloid material in the blood vessel walls. Here we can see blood vessel very clearly. Again a blood vessel with deposition of Congo red positive amyloid material. Kappa light chain staining was strongly positive in the amyloid material in this case, while the lambda took up a very weak stain and was considered as negative as compared to the strong staining of the kappa chains. Diagnosis of amyloidosis of tongue was conferred in this case. Differential diagnosis considered in this case were granular cell tumor. However, granular cell tumor is characterized by granular deep eosinophilic cytoplasm of the cells with well-defined borders. There is no involvement of the vasculature in granular cell tumor. Congo red is negative and the cells are S100 positive. Another diagnosis considered in differential diagnosis was rhabdomyoma, but rhabdomyomas are made up of uniform skeletal muscle cells. They do not have hyaline material. They are positive for desmin and they are negative for Congo red stain. Third possibility considered was leiomyoma, but leiomyomas are made up of spindle-shaped smooth muscle cells. They have no vascular involvement. They are positive for smooth muscle antigen and negative for congruent stain. In addition to this case, two other cases of oral amyloidosis were retrieved from our files. One case had involvement of the tongue in an elderly male, while other case had involvement of buccal mucosa. Hence, in this series, we report total of 3 cases of oral amyloidosis with involvement of tongue causing macroglossia in 2 cases and of buccal mucosa with nodule formation in 1 case. Histopathology from another case of amyloidosis of tongue, we see large deposits of eosinophilic material in the lamina propria and submucosa here. Higher magnification showing acellular deposits of the hyaline material. Congruent stain showing positivity for the hyaline material seen in the H&E section. The third case of the buccal mucosa, deposits are seen in the lamina propria here. Congruent positivity in the amyloid deposits in the lamina propria enclosed within the buccal mucosa. Hence, we shall discuss the causes and pathogenesis of oral amyloidosis. Oral amyloidosis is a rare and debilitating disease that generally involves tongue, and whether primary or secondary, it may severely impact the quality of the patient's life. Amyloidosis is characterized by extracellular deposition of fibrillary proteins in organs and tissues and is classified based on the nature of the precursor plasma proteins that form the fibrillary deposits into primary and secondary amyloidosis. The pathogenesis is multifactorial. Nonetheless, the common final pathway is identical in all forms of the disease: the production of amyloid fibrils in the extracellular matrix. All amyloid deposits have a common fibrillary structure consisting of linear aggregates of fibrils with an approximate diameter of 7.5 to 10 nanometers and a cross beta plated sheet conformation evidenced by X-ray diffraction. The commonest types of primary amyloidosis are immunoglobulin or light chain related and familial transthyretin associated. A small percentage of AL amyloidosis cases are associated with multiple myeloma. These patients commonly produce urinary free monoclonal light chains referred to as Benz zone proteins of either kappa or lambda isotype. Unlike multiple myeloma and monoclonal gammopathies, in which K chains are more frequent, in AL amyloidosis, the ratio of kappa to lambda chains has been found to be 1:3. Secondary amyloidosis due to chronic diseases like rheumatoid arthritis and chronic infections is caused by amyloid derived from serum amyloid A, an acute phase protein produced in response to inflammation. In the past, tuberculosis was one of the commonest causes of amyloidosis associated with inflammatory conditions, that is AA amyloidosis. Clinically, AL amyloidosis has the widest spectrum of tissue and organ involvement. The organs most commonly involved are the kidney and the heart, either alone or in combination. Furthermore, autonomic and sensory neuropathy are relatively common features. Hepatomegaly can transpire and rarely splenomegaly. Infiltration of soft tissue by amyloid may occur elsewhere, resulting in nail dystrophy or, in rare instances, alopecia. In oral cavity, Buccal mucosa, gingiva, and tongue are the commonest tissues involved in amyloidosis, and tongue shows variable degree of macroglossia and impairment in speech and deglutition. The clinical manifestations of amyloidosis differ from those of AL variant. The most striking difference is the absence of macroglossia in AL variant of amyloidosis. There is no consensus as to the management of lingual amyloidosis. Take home message from this presentation. Correlation with history of the patient and clinical findings is very important. Presence of acellular hyaline material in the connective tissue and walls of blood vessels should raise the suspicion of amyloidosis. Special stains, particularly Congo red, are very helpful in clinching the diagnosis. Desmin, SMA, and S100 protein can help to rule out muscle tumors and granular cell myoblastoma. Thank you very much.